CSS Relational Selector. Relational selectors allow you to select elements based on their relationship with other elements in the document structure. These selectors target elements based on hierarchy and proximity. So types of relational selectors, we have the Descendant Selector, or you can call it the ancestor descendant. And then we have the Child Selector. This is where we have the parents, and then we target all the child elements, the direct child elements. We have the Adjacent Sibling Selector, right? This is how we use it. The element, then plus the sibling. And then we have the General Sibling Selector, the element, and then this tilde symbol, right? All right, let's see what each of this describe, the description for each of this selector. Now, Descendant Selector selects all elements that are descendants. So both children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, just keep going in that hierarchy. So it will select all the elements there of that specific ancestor. So if you have, for instance, for this div, this is a div element, right? All the P element that you're going to have in the div elements, right? We have color of red. So which means in this div element, if we have this P as a direct child, and there's another P that happens to be the grandchild of this div or great grandchild of this P, all we have color red. Okay, so in this example, all P elements inside a div will be styled with red text. It's useful for styling nested elements based on their parent elements. The next one is the Child Selector. So this is how we use it, parent and then this angle bracket, right? Yes, angle brackets. So this selects direct child elements of a specific parent. Example, U, L, then the direct child, Li. So list style type, none. So this targets only the Li element that are direct children of UL elements, excluding nested UL elements. I think this now makes sense. So if you have UL angle bracket Li, this will only style the direct child element, the direct Li. So if you have another Li that happens to be the grandchild or grandchildren of UL, they won't be affected by this style. So this style gets applied to only the direct Li of UL, if that makes sense. So use it when you need a target immediate child element. Then we have the Adjacent Sibling Selector. So this is how we use it, element plus sibling. Select an element that is the immediate sibling of a specific element. The immediate sibling of a specific element. So just like if you have the firstborn, the secondborn, or the thirdborn. So if we have, let's say, firstborn, secondborn, this means that you want to select the secondborn or you want to style the secondborn. So H1 plus P. This targets the first P element that follows directly after H1 element. So useful for applying styles to elements that are next to each other. So if they are sharing the same parent element, you can easily use this Adjacent Sibling Selector. And then we have the General Sibling Selector, the element, and then the tilde symbol, and then the sibling. So select all sibling elements that follow a specific element. It selects all sibling elements that follow a specific element. So this is how we use it. H2 tilde P, color blue. This will style all P elements that appear after an H2. After an H2 element, not just the immediate sibling. So remember, this first one only selects. So which means if I have 3P, let's say we have H1 and then we have 3P, 3 other P's, right, that are siblings. So which means 4, right? H1, 1 sibling, and then 3 other P siblings, right? This adjacent only selects the first P element. But this general sibling means that if you have a H1 tilde or general selector P, it will select all the siblings that are P elements in that document. All right, and then so this will start the P element that appear after an H2 element, not just the immediate sibling. Great for applying styles to multiple elements that share a common parent. Additional tip: mention combining multiple relational selectors for even more advanced targeting. E.g., so you can combine this multiple relational selector together. So this is a parent-child of selector, and then this is adjacent sibling selector, right? So if you understand this very well, you can even go ahead and create complex selector in your CSS styles. So quickly, let's get our hands dirty and see how we can use each of these selector in our document. So first, let's look at the descendants. So the descendants means, if we have a parent, for instance, the body, right? All its descendants, we have this header here. Even this H12 is another descendant. No. H1 here is a descendant of, what's it called? Body. If we use body here as a reference, this we can simply say H1 is a grandchild to B element, right? If B happens to be the target or the reference element at this point, and then header happens to be the direct parent of H1, and then in header we can say H1 and nav are siblings. Good. So let's see what we can do right now. Or let's look at the documents carefully. I want to find a useful element here. Now I may likely have to tweak this document a little bit by introducing some other elements. All right. Now let's say this first section with an ID of home, right? The first section with an ID of home. The first thing I'm going to do is I will create a div. So there's an element called div, which means divider. Div, and inside this div, I will create another paragraph. So I will use lorem text. So let's lorem 20. Okay, lorem 20. So this is a div. We create a paragraph, right? And then inside the div, I would like to create another section. Then create another paragraph here and say lorem maybe 20 again. Okay, so this section has a paragraph. Now look at this hierarchy carefully. Here is a section. I just want us to take a good look at the paragraph that we have inside this section. This section alone, this section with an ID of home, right? Look at the first paragraph. This first paragraph happens to be a grandchild. It's not a direct child element to section, right? Because the direct child is this article. So P is the direct child to article, right? Which makes P the grandchild of section. That's that for this one. Then if you look at this P here. This P here, we can say is the great grandchild, right, to this section. And then this one again is the great grandchild. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So guys, what I'm trying to do is to create nested elements at a deeper level so that we can understand how descendant selector actually works, right? So now if I use this ID selector and then P next to it, what this means is that it's going to select all the P elements in this section, okay, and style the document. So quickly, let's see. I'm going to load the document first. Descendant selector. Good. So CSS descendant selector, right? So obviously I actually want to style all this paragraph here. But before then, maybe I should just introduce heading. Some other heading. Where is it again? Okay, this is the section. This is the section we are targeting right now. This section. So after, okay, this P has an heading. Then before this P, I would like to use. I would like to create an heading 3. Heading 3. Heading 3. Heading 3, and then and this section, it doesn't matter actually, but just to separate them, we can see what's going on clearly. Good. So now I will go to, okay, let's first see those content first. Oh, awesome. So we have this paragraph, another paragraph, and then another paragraph. So in the style element, Now I'm going to say home. So you can tell this is an ID selector. It doesn't matter actually. These selectors, it can be anything. You can use an ID selector, you can use a class selector, you can use the type selector. All right. Any selector that you want at this point, you can use it. You can use the type, the class, the ID. Then the next thing is the P. So space P. So this is how we create a descendant selector. So what this selector means is that select all the P elements inside the element that has an ID of home. And this is the element here. So this element has an ID of home. So what's going to happen is that it's going to locate all the P, get all the P, and then set whatever style rules we specify inside this declaration block on those elements. So what I want is I would like to set the color to green and the font size to 28 pixels. Save. So these are going to refresh. So you can see. So it only affects that section. You can tell that this is the paragraph, right? Our mission is to deliver the highest quality of service and build lasting relationships with our clients. Is a paragraph. Here is another paragraph. Now let's look at our document to confirm that. So our mission is to deliver blah 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 is a paragraph. Then another one, we have another paragraph there. We have different paragraphs. We still have other paragraphs in the document, but as you can see, because of the selector that we are using, right? They could not actually have the style rules that we set on that selector, basically. So here is another paragraph. We have another one. We provide a wide range of services to meet your needs. And of course, we have another one here. And I think we still have another one at the footer section here. All right. So here is a perfect example of a descendant selector. Do you have a question, please? Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Please, I have a question.
All right.
So you were saying something about the children descendant.
Yes.
So that means we can actually use that hash, right? Instead of classifying it as ID or class. I
Okay,
mean, for the
yes, yes.
CSS.
If I understand your question very well, do you mean you want to style all this paragraph like you can just use the class attribute on them, right? Is that what you mean?
Ah,
Yeah.
sorry, can you come again? My network.
No,
I
worry,
could not hear you.
please. Yeah, just let me hear your question. Just come up with the question.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah,
You
you can
said
come
what?
up with the question.
Okay, please take key back to your screen where
Okay,
we
sure.
have that one. Okay, so you used this as
Yes,
home. So we can
yes.
actually use it for a what's it called? For this CSS class.
We can use it for CSS class. I don't understand. Do you mean class selector?
Yes, for class selector rather.
No. Class selector is different from ID selector. This is an ID selector. Remember, we use the dot operator to select. Now let me take you back to
Yeah.
class.html. This class, we use dot operator before the name of the class. So which means
Yes.
there's an element in our document that has a class name of section underscore heading. So similarly, if I take it back to descendant selector, right? Good. So this selector here implies that there is an element in our document that has an ID attribute of home, which is this
Okay.
section right here. This section, as you can see, ID home. There is no hash here at all. So the hash here is to tell the browser or whatever platform you want to run your code in that this is an ID selector.
Okay. I
Get the point.
think I
And
didn't see the ID before. I was seeing this href. I was thinking it's the href.
oh, this is right here.
Yes, that was what I thought.
No, I get your point. I understand your point right now. No. These
Okay.
are two different things actually. Here is just a way of creating a link that does not redirect to any other page. So whenever you click on this link on the web page, it remains on that same page. Do you get the point? Before we will create another document for home, about, services, and contact, different documents, right, for each of these links. But right now, since we don't want to do that, we
Yeah.
can just simply use
Because I know this is a link
hash
for
and
so.
the name. Then if I head back to the browser, if I click on it, it will just keep me on the same web page, on the same web page as you can see. The same web page. It's not taking me to any page. And it actually taking us to that section of the document. Because if you remember the section on the HTML links, we talk about internal links, right? Internal link, that's anchor links, whereby you can reference different section of your document. So what this link here is doing is that whenever I click on home page, it will move the document to this section, which has an ID of home. If I click on the about link, it will move the screen on the web page to the section that has this about. Similarly, if I click on contacts or services, it will take me to the services section. Contact will take me to contact section. Let's try it again. We are back to home, refresh. Now, if I click on services at first, you see our services. So I can see that screen. Ideally, if you have more space, right, we are not meant to see this our mission because this is the about page. Do you get the point now? So if I click about, you see it starts exactly on about. So you get to see the about section at the top. Please, are we good with that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that, honestly, because I don't know, maybe some people might actually think the same way. So I think by now we understand that this hash home is different from this hash home that we have here. So this hash home is an ID selector, which implies that there is an element in our document that has an ID attribute of home, which is this section right here. ID equals home. Okay, so that's that for descendant selector. So whenever you have a selector like this, oh, okay, so let's try another one. Let's try another one. I'm going to say H1 UL, H1 UL, H1 UL. So what the selector means is that, okay, let me pause here. Iro, Georgia blue, awesome. So what this implies is select the UL element in the H1. Oh no, this is not going to work actually. This is not going to work because U is not a direct child element of H1. Do you get the point? Okay, let's save this. Let's try it. Save. And I'm going to refresh. It's not going to work. Yes, it's not going to work because we call it descendant. So I believe it now makes sense because U is not a descendant of H1. Do you get the point? U is actually standalone. If it was nav now, yes, it will work because nav UL is a descendant of nav. So if I change this to nav or maybe header, yes, if I say header for instance, header it will work because U is a descendant of header because we have UL inside the header element. So I'm going to use header. So this should work. Background to .w, save, back to the browser, then refresh, and it works because U is a descendant of header. Please, does that make sense? Okay, I guess that's it.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now, next one, we have the child selector. Child selector. CSS child Someone's mic is on. Can we pick up our mic? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's off now. Okay, CSS child selector. Okay, what should we do now? Okay, now this UL, let's try. Let's use this UL. UL again. If I say UL, so to use the parent child selector, we use the angle brackets this way, and then the LI. I can say color W, save, back to the browser. So you can see our URL has changed, all the URL that we have here, it has changed. But you notice the anchor tag, the color of anchor tag doesn't change. Yes, and that's because of the default color that comes with the anchor tag. Except you target the A directly, that is when you can actually see the change of color altogether. Because we actually say what the direct child, which is LI. So A is not a direct child of UL. So this is not a descendant. So there is no way A would have inherit this color from UL. All right. So UL, that is the direct child of UL, which is LI. Set the color to W, and we have seen that on the screen. Okay, let's look for another one which is more obvious. Maybe I will just copy the modification we did on this guy the other time. I think we did some things there which I think we solve at this point. Maybe I just copy all the article section here. Yeah, the article, and we paste it. Oh no, that's the wrong. Okay, good. Shift down key, copy. Now we go back to the child selector. So article, so I'm just going to dump it right here. I'll replace it with this guy. Paste, save. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this code carefully. I want to target this article. All right. I want to target this article. I would like to use a class name because I don't want other article on the page to be affected because we have another article here, right? So I will use a class name or maybe an ID and say, let's say welcome notes. Welcome underscore notes. So you see how descriptive this ID name is. So that is how we are expected to make our ID and class name descriptive. So I've given this article an ID of welcome underscore note, right? Now I'm going to use ID. I want to style the direct paragraph child element of this article. All right. I'm going to say now the article now has a class. Is it a class or an ID? It's an ID now. Welcome underscore note. So an ID will use the hash symbol. Welcome underscore note. That's the selector. Then I will use the angle bracket and say P. So P should have a background color of gold color. Save this to the browser. Refresh. We only have one. So we only have one paragraph that has a background color of gold. But if you look at the article element again, the article element that has an ID of welcome underscore note, it has other paragraph, but they are its descendants, not direct child elements. So this P here is not a direct child element to article. The only direct child paragraph element is this guy right here. Welcome to the home page of our site. We provide various services to help you succeed in your goals. And you can see the output right here. So this lorem text doesn't have a good background color. Likewise, this other paragraph here doesn't have a good background color. And that's because they are not direct child elements to the article. So you can now see the relationship. This is the parent and here is the child. So what this angle bracket implies is that it's going to select all the direct child elements of this parent elements. Does that make sense, please? Questions? Okay, no question. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done. Now we have the adjacent sibling. Guys, I hope you are still together. Yes. I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're almost done. So the adjacent sibling. Where down? Okay. Back to the browser. Quickly modify this URL. Sibling. I guess there is an error. Adjacent sibling. Okay. Should be sibling. Good. So the CSS adjacent sibling selector. So again, let's look at the slide because I believe this is where most people do have questions or can't really understand what's going on. So adjacent sibling selector. So here is how we select the element. The element then plus the sibling. Select an element that is the immediate sibling of a specific element. Select an element that is the immediate sibling of a specific element. So we have h1 plus p, margin top to 0. That's the declaration for this selector. So this targets the first p element that follows directly after an h1 element. Useful for applying styles to elements that are next to each other. So back to our document. Maybe we should use something else. I don't want us to keep on with this home. Maybe services this time around. Let's see what we can do with services. Now services we have this H2, right? After this H, I'm going to introduce a paragraph and use lorem of 5 words first. I will create another lorem of 10 words. I will create another one of 20 words. Doesn't matter, just to get some content right here. So right now we have this H2, right? This H2, or I would like to give it a unique name. Maybe service underscore heading. Good. Because if I use H2, it may likely affect other H2 because I really want to style the first P element that comes after this H2. So that way I can easily uniquely identify the element first and then go ahead and target it. So now I want to style this paragraph, only this paragraph. And mind you, we have 3 paragraphs after this H2, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So first paragraph, second paragraph, and then third paragraph. So these 3 paragraphs, they are siblings with this H2, right? But I actually want to start the first sibling. So we can use the adjacent. So adjacent means the immediate element after that particular element that we select first. So the first element we're going to select is this guy because we want to style the first paragraph. So service underscore heading. So again, internal CSS. So since it is an ID, we need the hash symbol. So service underscore heading. Now adjacent, we use the plus operator, then followed by the element that we want. So we want to start the immediate paragraph there. And then before then, please. And mind you, we have a comment in CSS as well. So this is how we comment in CSS. I want us to see the paragraph first before we load the output. So our services should be somewhere around there after this H2. So if I refresh now, good. We have the 3 paragraphs, right? Our services, we have 1, 2, 3. So we want to type only this one, this first guy right here, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll bring back, I'll remove this comment. So good. So the ID selector, which is the H2, and then we want to style the first paragraph. So I'm going to say Daraja blue paragraph, Daraja blue, and color orange. Save. Back to the browser and then refresh. So you can see only this paragraph here is styled as a result of the adjacent sibling selector that we use. Are we together, please? Do we have any question?
No, sir.
All right, so quickly, let's look at the last one, the general sibling selector. The general sibling selector. So quickly, let's look at the slide again. So general sibling selector selects all sibling elements that follow a specific element. All right. So this will style all P elements that appear after an H2 element, not just the immediate sibling. So great for applying styles to multiple elements that share a common parent. So to explain this better, right, the adjacent sibling selector that we use right now, using this H2, right? Remember, I style only this P elements. So in a situation whereby you want to style all the paragraphs, okay, that are the siblings of this H2, right? That is where the general sibling selector comes in. All right, and then we use the tilde operator instead of the plus or the addition operator. So I will get these paragraphs. I'm going to copy it, then move them to okay, good. Services, paste, and then we can give this a unique ID again and say service underscore heading, save. So I will go straight to, okay, let's first load the document, which is the last one. General sibling, good. So general sibling selector. So what we actually want to do right now is to style only these 3 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, based on, because we believe this H2 and these 3 paragraphs are siblings, right? But we want to style only the 3 paragraphs after the H2. So first we have to target the H2, which I think we have done. So this is the H2 here. I've given it an ID of service underscore ID. So I can simply go to my edit section and get the style element, and then select the ID selector, the ID element there, service underscore heading, then tilde. So tilde, I guess that should be the button above the tab. So you can hold down the shift and then you get the symbol there, tilde, then the element that you want to style. So the paragraphs, right? And right here, I'm going to set background to green, color to white, font size rather to 28 pixels, font family to cursive. So let's just keep it simple at this point. To the browser, I'm going to refresh. What's going on? Okay, let's see what's going on. That should work. I don't know why. Background color green. They have, oh, green, my spelling here. So I actually wrote triple E. So save. It works actually, but color name I passed there was wrong. And you see, we were able to style only the paragraphs, okay, the 3 paragraphs that precede this H2. And that's that. That's how we can use the general sibling selector in CSS.